Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm James Milan. I am here for our weekly update with our town manager, Adam Chapdelaine. And I will dispense with the usual greeting, Adam, because we've done it so many times, but it is good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks, James.
But let's get to it. We always start with COVID, and that's where we want to start again. And, we did have this little uptick last week, and it wasn't sure which way it was going to go. Kind of reassuring week since then.
Yeah, there really has only been a handful of new cases that have come in to the Board of Health over the past week. So Arlington continues to fare well, even as we see some other communities starting to slip towards, the yellow or the red. I don't think that means that we need to take our foot off the gas, so to speak. I think the vigilance or the call to remain vigilant and to wear a mask remain just as important. I know there was a piece in the Globe yesterday from a local epidemiologist at Harvard, really talking about the fear of a perfect and terrible storm this winter if this virus is as seasonal as most of the experts think it is. So, and this is an expert that I've had the opportunity to be on a number of calls with over the past 6 months. So I at least have some view of his credibility and integrity and expertise. And he's been right about much of what he said. So I think we're doing better, but we got to keep it up. We got to keep it up until that vaccine is available. Wear a mask, keep your gatherings small and do what you can to stay vigilant.
Yes, and next week we will not be doing this because you will be otherwise engaged on this same topic, basically with a virtual town forum that happens next Thursday, the 15th at 2 p.m. And that's all about pandemic preparedness and the ongoing operations. I'm wondering, is that a look forward? Primarily, because as you were just saying, we are approaching what might be a worrisome prospect, just tell us about what the event is likely to contain.
I mean, I think first and foremost that we get a lot of positive feedback about the virtual town forums we did earlier this year, as giving folks an opportunity to engage in discussions with town leaders. So, we were in a steady state for a while, but we're moving into a new period of, a new season, wondering when vaccines are going to come. So I think we want to give people that opportunity to engage again. We want to update people on where we see things standing today. And yeah, we do want to talk about the future as well. What do we see coming down the pipe? What's the Board of Health and staff doing to prepare itself for the eventual administration of vaccines when they become available? And we're going to actually broaden the table for this. We're going to have Director of Health and Human Services, Fire Chief, Police Chief, Director of Public Works, Recreation Director, Planning and Community Development Director. We want to make sure we're providing, again, a sort of a wide breadth of information to what's happening in town as we enter the winter.
Yeah, and all that, is there a time duration set for this forum? Because it sounds like an awful lot of people are going to be involved here.
We're gonna go for 90 minutes. We'll do an hour and a half. We're gonna try to keep the speaking portion of the program to about 45 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, and then take questions for the balance. We're trying to run a tight ship with how long everybody has to speak. Some of the departments I mentioned will only take 5 minutes or less to provide an update, but then be there to answer questions that folks attending might have.
Well, as you have already described it, it certainly sounds like a comprehensive kind of overview of where we are at and what we can anticipate. Moving on, there remains concern there. Obviously, this is going to be a very long standing issue of concern around racial equity in town and various moves made by the town or not made by the town, et cetera. Including, I know the select board, had heard from the public once again about issues related to racial equity. Can you give us an update on where things stand with select board specifically on that issue?
Absolutely. I think Monday was actually a very exciting and I'd say inspiring night on this issue at the select board meeting. We presented to the board on the history of work around these issues that we've done in town and shared our plans for work to come around issues of race, equity, and justice. And ultimately, the board voted to endorse the creation of a racial equity action plan, which has been something we've been planning to do for some time as part of our partnership with the National League of Cities Race Equity and Leadership Division. The project or the program we signed up for with them always intended to end with the creation of a racial equity action plan, but I thought it was important to highlight that publicly and have the board vote to endorse the creation of that plan. They voted 5-0. All 5 board members spoke passionately about the need to do this work, and I think it was a clear step forward and in the right direction for us to come together as a community and start this real hard work. It's not going to happen tomorrow. You can't just flip a switch and end racism. But to hear the chair of the board say during this agenda item, anybody who says that there is an institutional, structural, or individual racism in Arlington is just plain wrong, I think is a powerful statement coming from the elected leadership of this town.
Absolutely. One of the staples of our conversations lately has been environmental and sustainability issues. And I kind of want to keep it going because every time we more or less have good news to share right now. And there's more this week. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love it if it became a staple of the segment as well. This week, we're excited to announce a grant we've received in cooperation with Power Options through the Mass Clean Energy Center to transform, I guess would be the right word, one of our existing school buses into an all-electric bus. So this is something that we've seen starting to happen in other communities, other parts of the country. And what we'll be doing is taking out the old engine and drivetrain and putting in a new electric engine and drivetrain. And through this grant, getting access to the funds necessary to make that transition, as well as the charging apparatus that will need to be installed. And it's really, like much of what we've been doing in various sectors, it's a pilot. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this electric bus can get around town, especially on snowy days. But we're excited. I mean, one of the big challenges of getting to net zero is transitioning heavy duty vehicles off fossil fuels. And, a bus isn't a snowplow and it's not a fire engine, but it's still a big heavy duty vehicle that needs to transport a lot of people and a lot of weight. So if we can demonstrate success in this, I'll be really excited to see where it leads us in trying to move not only our buses, but other heavy duty vehicles over to more clean fuels in the future.
It's an exciting prospect for sure. And I got to say, whether it's awards or money, awards meaning recognition for the efforts here in Arlington, or money coming through grants that we are, both winning and spending constructively, obviously. It's a real bright spot in the news that we share each week.
I agree. And it's a huge shout out to the team that makes it happen. The team in planning and community development. I mean, this particular one is due to the great efforts of Ken Pruitt, our energy manager, but we've talked about grants we've recently received, the fruits of the effort of Dan Amstutz in transportation, Emily Sullivan in environmental. We've recently received another recycling grant due to Charlotte Milan's efforts in public works. So we've got this really tremendous team that works on these sustainability issues, and we're very lucky to have them.
Let me ask you just quickly, Adam, whether there's going to be any impact as you see it in Arlington for the change this week to a new status. On a state level, we've moved into phase 3, step 2, I believe, of the kind of gradual reopening of business and life. What impacts, if any, do you see on Arlington of those new changes?
In general terms, I don't think we see very many impacts based on the applicability of different functions or businesses that are operating in town. More broadly, this move to step 2 allows for larger gatherings, both inside and outside. And after an assessment with the public health team, we just generally, based on the things that are happening in town right now and our own caution around public health, we're not ready to advance to those new gathering sizes. And most of the programs we have based on the spaces they use aren't, they can't increase to those gathering sizes. So we're going to continue to remain cautious and not really officially move into phase 2 in that regard, as the governor has now allowed.
Okay. And last topic for today is, I understand that the town's website is going to have a relaunch or a refresh coming up in this coming week. What is that about?
So when we went to the new website, which I think has to be 5 or 6 years ago now, there was built right into the contract then that after a number of years there would be a refresh, and we're at that time, and our public information officer Joan Roman, along with folks from every department, have been working really hard to get this refresh up and running. It's going to be a cleaner look, a more streamlined look, a little more modern, but I think also one of the big aspects of it, it's going to be more accessible for those with disabilities accessing the website. That's been a core focus that Joan has had over the past couple of years, and via this refresh, we're going to be able to even improve our focus on ADA accessibility of the site. So we're excited. I think it's going to make information more accessible to residents. I think it's, again, going to be cleaner and streamlined, and hopefully it'll be a good resource for folks in town who are trying to either access services or access information.
And I assume that we can be assured that there will be no interruption of people's access to the website and to the information and services contained therein.
Yeah, whatever interruption there may be will be very minimal. I think we do. I think it's called a cut over is the technical term, but yeah, I think it can be done quite seamlessly as they're building the refreshed site in parallel to the existing site, so that when we cut over, we're able to switch over to the new site without any major interruption.
All right. Well, good to see you in a jacket and tie again, my friend. It's been a little while.
I remember how to tie the knot.
Well done. I do want to remind our viewers that we will not be doing this update next week, but you will be able to see Adam on ACMi, because while we are not yet sure of which channel it's going to show on, we will be carrying the virtual town forum next week, Thursday at 2 p.m. live on ACMi, and also there will be repeat viewings available for everybody in the usual spots on our website, on our YouTube page, etc. So, Adam, we do look forward to that town forum, and we thank you for your time again this week, as always.
Of course, you're welcome, and thanks for the opportunity.
All right, take care.
You too.